Humsafar. Sarah and Asar are childhood friends who share the same status. Sarah has always had strong emotions for Asar, while Khirad lives with her mother in a two-bedroom apartment. Asar and Khirad are forced into a marriage due to desperate circumstances. Khirad is a proud and self-sufficient person and doesn't give importance to wealth and power. She only hopes for respect. Asar believes that he would have married a girl equal to his stature but was forced into a loveless marriage. Slowly their relationship gets stronger and the two find common grounds to begin their marriage. Along with internal struggles between these two strong characters, Sarah and those around her plot to create enmity between the newly married couple. Zindagigulzarhai. The drama Zindagigulzarhai depicts a love story between a lower middle class woman named Kashyap and a wealthy Pakistani man named Zaru. A single mother raised Kashyap and her two younger sisters. Their father abandoned them and remarried after their mother could not produce a male heir. This led Kashyap to distrust man from an incredibly early age, but it also gave her the incentive to receive an education and become self-dependent like her mother. When she grew older, Kashyap received a scholarship to a prestigious university where she met a man from a wealthy family named Zarun. She instantly grew to dislike him due to his flirtatious and jealous nature. Once Kashyap outperformed him on several occasions. While Zarun did not like her at first, he began to see wife-like qualities within her and eventually convinced her to marry him. As the drama progresses, it is clear that there are many differences between his wealthy lifestyle and her lower middle-class background. Pyare Afzal. The story starts in the city of Hyderabad, where the protagonist Afzal, son of Maulvi Subhanallah, is playing cricket. Afzal spends his time playing sports, cards and betting, which his father despises. He has a crush on Farah, the mill owner's daughter, and claims to receive letters from Farah, which he reads in front of his friends. Although he refuses to disclose the name of the girl, Farah on the other hand is to marry Mehtab, a family friend, but she doesn't want to marry him. Farah along with her sister Lubna hire Afzal to be Farah's love interest so that Farah can convince her parents that she loves another person, which they succeeded in doing so. Meanwhile, Afzal falls in love with Farah and his sister convinces his parents to take marriage proposal to Farah's parents. In the family meeting, Farah humiliates and insults Afzal. Heartbroken Afzal leaves Hyderabad for Karachi, vowing to never return. Afzal arrives in Karachi and lives with Babu Hamid in a rented room. The house is owned by a landlady and her daughter Yasmin. Afzal witnesses an incident in which Wali, Yasmin's gangster cousin, harasses her to marry him. Afzal fights Wali, who vows to take revenge and returns after a few days with his man comes and shoots Afzal. Yasmin is moved by what Afzal has done for her and falls in love with him. Wali, taking advantage of Afzal's absence, comes to Yasmin's house again. Hamid attempts to shoot Wali but gets shot instead. Afzal receives the news of Hamid's death and decides to take revenge. Afzal's parents came to Karachi in order to meet him, but he runs away before they met him. Undercover police gets interested in Afzal and decided to hire him as a vigilant and pays him to create a gang for targeted killing the criminals. Their first target was Wali and he was assassinated. Afzal becomes an infamous gangster and nobody knows that he actually works for the undercover police. Meanwhile, Farah's psychologist Siftain proposes to Farah, who agrees reluctantly. When Afzal is informed, he also decides to get engaged with Yasmin. On the same day, Farah's engagement is cancelled when Maulvi has a heart attack. When Afzal hears about his father's heart attack, he returns to Hyderabad with Yasmin. Afzal's parents are initially reluctant to accept him, but Yasmin successfully resolves his issues with his parents. Afzal receives a call from the undercover police to resume his target killing, but he informs them that he no longer wants to be their target killer. Yasmin is curious about the Farah who writes letters to Afzal. Afzal, unable to express his feelings to Farah, had written letters from Farah to himself. Yasmin goes to Farah and confronts her. She realizes that Farah is also in love with Afzal. She breaks her engagement with Afzal and decides to go back. Farah calls Afzal and admits to loving him. The police shoots Afzal while they are having this conversation because he had left the undercover police and they had warned him a long time ago that he cannot leave this post. As Farah confesses to loving him, Afzal succumbs to his bullet wounds as the drama ends. Mere paas tum ho. Danish is a simple man who upholds the moral ideals of Pakistani culture. He is a government employee. His kid Rumi and wife Mahwish are the center of his universe. As a result of the businessman Shehwar Ahmed's flattery and desire to his money, his wife Mahwish engages in an illicit relationship with him. Even though he offers Mahvish a high-level position in his office with a very high pay and additional benefits, her son and husband are against her working there because they believe she is having an extramarital affair. Mahvish eventually leaves her children and husband and begins a new life with Shehwar. She convinces Shehwar to marry her after living with him for approximately 6 or 7 months, but Mehem, Shehwar's first wife, returns to Pakistan on the day of their wedding. Shehwar's riches belongs exclusively to her. Yaqeen Ka Safar. Story of three families battling with devils within and outside. Zubia, a young girl who witnessed her mother murdered by her father, yet she can't say a single word. An educated family which is struggling to find its place in this double standard society. Last but not the least, a poor village girl who is gang raped and left for dead by powerful and corrupt people of the village, trying to find justice. What happens next is a struggle which may or may not result in good people winning. Diyare Dil. The story revolves around Agha Jan and his two sons Behroz and Suhaib. Behroz is engaged to Agha Jan's niece Arjuman since childhood, but he refuses to accept this relation and wants to marry Ruhina, who belongs to a middle-class family and is his classmate. When Agha comes to know about this, he tells him to either leave or marry Arjuman. Behroz leaves his father's house and Agha announces that the wedding will take place as scheduled with his younger son Suhaib. Arjuman denies to marry Suhaib as she treats him as a brother. However, after Agha pressures her, she agrees. Both get married reluctantly and Behroz marries Ruhina. Later, Ruhina gives birth to Farah and Anjuman gives birth to Wali and Zarmina. Wali's birth brings Arjuman and Suhaib close and eventually both fall in love. However, after Suhaib's death, Behroz visits the mansion and decides to fulfill his brother's last wish, which was the marriage of their children. Ruhina opposes to this as she was insulted by Agha and thrown out. The series then focuses upon the relationships that occur in lives of many people. Alif. Alif is the journey of Momin and Momina, where Momin's journey is to rediscover his roots and to choose the right path, while Momina's journey is to maintain the livelihood of her family by fateful events their paths will join. The story also entails Momin's mother, Husn Jahan. It depicts it how a rebellious filmmaker and a struggling actress, both having disturbed past, come across the same path and understand the terminology of the alphabet Alif, illustrating the bond of an individual with his God. Dam. Zehra and Maliha have been close friends for over 7 years. Zehra belongs to a lower middle class family and Maliha comes from upper class household. Yet their class difference has never threatened their unbreakable bond. Maliha has been there for a friend through many hardships, though she never really knew the extent of the mental anguish that plagued Zehra's life. The first blow to their friendship comes when Maliha's older brother Junai shows interest in marrying Zehra. Her parents have no objection to the union, but it comes as a real shock to Maliha. Somehow, she cannot fathom the thought that her only brother could marry her best friend. Dam is the story of the price that she pays to her best friend to stop this marriage and how that price becomes a dam for all of them. Ishqiya. The story of the drama revolves around college sweethearts Humna and Hamza, who are in love and want to get married through having completely opposite personalities. Humna is a shy, modest girl, whereas Hamza is very possessive and erratic. Though the two are willing to spend their lives together, Hamna is compelled to obey her father, who asks her to marry Azim. She marries him without even telling Hamza, which leaves Hamza feeling betrayed and eager to take revenge. After this, Hamza takes the absurd decision to marry Rumi, Hamna's younger sister, just to torture her. But with time, Hamza and Rumi start developing feelings for each other. But poor Rumi is not aware that she is being victimized for her sister's revenge and Hamza continues to blackmail Hamna. Hamna, putting an end to Hamza's games, tells all the truth about the relationship to Azim, which breaks his heart and he completely loses his trust in Hamna. Diwangi. The story begins with the character Nagin, who is living with a mean brother-in-law, and her brother-in-law is always on a mission to get her married to a hooligan friend of his in exchange for money. Nagin is a strong girl who works as a bus hostess to earn money and not be dependent on her brother-in-law. She meets Mansoor, who is an arrogant rich man, and falls for her when he had to take the bus as his car broke down. It was love at first sight for him and he tries his best to get her attention until she slaps him. This was caught on camera and the media took advantage of this and hence the news spread like wildfire in Karachi. Nagin falls really bad and meets him to apologize and starts liking him too. Mansoor then proposes to her and Nagin introduces him to her family. On the day of the wedding, Nagin gets kidnapped and her reputation is tarnished when she is dropped off after 2 days. The news of her being taken on the night of the wedding does not go well with Mansoor and he then wants nothing to do with her. The story takes a twist when Mansoor stops answering Nagin's phone calls and Nagin barges into his office. At that time, Mansoor starts laughing at her and tells her how he has plotted the whole kidnap and framed her to ruin her life by tarnishing her reputation. Filled with rage, Nagin wants to avenge this, but her sister convinces her to run away to Lahore before her husband gets Nagin married off.